Hey everyone, it's 2024, can you believe it? So, a whole new year of books. I'm going to be talking about what I am definitely going to be reading between January to March, and then I'm going to talk about what I hope to get to through the rest of the year. Not a complete definitive list, but some general things that I definitely want to get to. These are not in any particular order. First up, Piranesi. This has been talked about a lot on BookTube. Most people love it. There are some dissenters who don't like it, so I'll be very interested to see what I think of this. Next up, Quicksilver, the first book in the Baroque trilogy by Neal Stephenson. I was planning to hopefully start this in December, but I never actually managed to get there, so I will definitely be reading this between January to March. This is one of those absolute chonkers of a book. It's almost 1,000 pages. I plan to read probably one of these per year over the next 3 years. Richard E. Grant, A Pocketful of Happiness. This is mainly his diary of the last year he had with his wife, but there are other autobiographical things mixed in. So I got this as a Christmas present from my sister. Hi sis. So looking forward to this one. Next up, A Random Walk Down Wall Street. Now this is a classic, 1.5 million copies sold. It's one of those books that's been on my list, and I happened to be at my uncle-in-law's house and he had it, so he lent it to me. I have actually started it and it's very readable, so looking forward to continuing this one. Life, the Universe and Everything by Douglas Adams. So this is the third book in the Hitchhiker's trilogy. I did read these many years ago, but I've never read the fifth book. I'm pretty sure I've read the fourth book, so I'm just reading through them all again. I plan to read one of these every 3 months. So I'll be reading this January to March, and then April to June I'll be reading Mostly Harmless, and then I'll be reading The Salmon of Doubt, and then whatever the last one is by some other dude. And then I'll probably read the radio scripts again. Stardust by Neil Gaiman. It's quite a while since I've read a Neil Gaiman, so I actually don't know that much about this one, but I got it from someone recently, so it's quite short, so I'll give it a go. John Green, An Abundance of Katherines. I really enjoyed The Fault in Our Stars, so hopefully this one is decent. I'm going to throw in some Asterix. This is number 7. Yes, number 7. It's been quite a while since I read an Asterix. I think it's 2020 since I read the last one. This is the next one I'm up to. Next up is The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman. Ed over at Dutch Greybeard suggested I read this series, his Dark Materials, and it's been on my bookshelf forever, so now is the time. They're not too long. It's number 4 on the BBC Big Reads Top 10 list, and it's one of the only books that I haven't read on that list. By the way, anyone with OCD about matching book covers should look away now. Just look at this abomination. All the covers completely different. So that's it for January to March. Now, I think I tend to read about 2,500 pages per quarter. So that's 10,000 pages every year. So that's my budget. I can probably do a little bit more than that, but that's kind of what I've got to play with. So with that budget, what can I fit in? One book I'd like to try is Phantastes by George MacDonald. This is one of the inspirations for C.S. Lewis. I think this was written in the 20s, and Ed, again, over at Dutch Greybeard, is going to be reading this, so I thought it would be good to read it at the same time. And speaking of Ed, 2 more series. He's going to be reading some Gavriel, the Fionavar Tapestry trilogy, so I'd like to give that a go this year, or at least start it. He's also going to be reading Legend by David Gemmell. Now, I have read Legend, and I've read 1 or 2 other David Gemmell books, but it's been quite a while, so I would like to actually read the entire Drusilla Legend saga, if that's what it's called. So I'd like to read Legend at least this year, and then hopefully do 1 or 2 in subsequent years. Alright, going through some more things on my shelves. Over the last several years, I've been reading one Tolkien book. I am up to the 4th History of Middle-earth book, so I will definitely be reading that this year. I've been reading The Chronicles of Prydain by Lloyd Alexander, and I'd like to finish that series with the 5th book, The High King, this year. I'd like to continue reading The Realm of the Elderlings by Robin Hobb. I read the first Assassins trilogy many years ago. I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years ago. I've asked people whether I should reread those or just continue with the Liveship Traders, and most people said just continue with the Liveship Traders. So I hope to be starting the Liveship Traders series this year. I'd also like to read some more Feist. I am up to the first book in the Serpent War saga, Shadow of a Dark Queen. So that's a series of 4 books that I hope to start this year. Some others, I'd like to read the next James Bond. I'd like to read another Famous 5 or 2. I think I'm up to book 11. I'd like to read another Biggles. I'd like to continue reading the Redwall series. I'm up to book 3 of that. And of course, I'm going to be reading hopefully 1 or 2 more Asimovs and 1 or 2 more Clarkes, maybe 2063. The 3rd book in the 2001 series. I'll probably throw in a Clive Cussler and probably a Matthew Riley, 7 Ancient Wonders. I have read 7 Ancient Wonders before, but it's been a while and I'd like to read that and the subsequent ones. I'd like to read another Pratchett. I'm actually up to Going Postal, which unfortunately I don't have on my shelves. So hopefully I'll get that sometime this year. My son now has the entire How to Train Your Dragon series, so I think I'd like to read all those. I'll make a start on that this year at some point. I'd also like to try some classics. I've thought for a while I should really read the Iliad and the Odyssey at some point in time, so why not now? And then there's other things I'd like to read, like Don Quixote, Anna Karenina, Crime and Punishment, that kind of stuff. We'll see. Maybe I'll get to one of these at some point this year. There's also some other non-fiction books I'd like to read, like there's a Bill Bryson book about travelling around the UK, which I'd like to get to. And I can't believe I didn't mention Wheel of Time. Of course, I'm up to book 4. I'm just not sure if I'm going to wait to the next TV series before reading it. I think I'm going to read it before the TV series comes out. Just some comments on the channel and what you can expect to see. We're currently at 574 subscribers at the time of making this video. It'd be nice if that got to over 1,000 this year. In terms of the content you can expect, doing monthly TBRs and monthly reviews is a bit too much for me, so doing the quarterly thing seems to be working. So that's what you can expect going forward. I may do some extra videos. I'll probably do a top 10 fantasy series at some point. That's something that seems to be a requirement for booktubers, well, in the fantasy genre. I love your comments, so keep commenting. I try to reply to all of them, so that will be continuing. So that is fairly roughly my reading plan for 2024. Let me know what your plans are for 2024. Are you reading anything on this list? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.